Another consequence of the Capitol riot, some members of Congress who spent hours in lockdown together are now testing positive for COVID. Plus, a pair of police officers from Washington are under investigation for possibly taking part in the riot last week. Good Morning Northwest continues right now.
From Camp KVUE Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning, Northwest, and happy Tuesday, and thanks for starting it with us. I'm Monica Petrozelli. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Kristen Walls. Kristen, I hear that it could be a bit wet today.
Yes, we're looking at some scattered rain showers moving in. We had some activity overnight last night. Yakima yesterday, though, even had some wet weather. So we're going to see that continuing throughout the day today. So let's get you started first with a live look. This is from Richland's Columbia Point, and we're having just a few showers moving through the Tri-Cities early this morning, but as we switch over to Skywatch radar, that next batch is going to start to work in here over the next 20 minutes or so. You're going to need your umbrella pretty much all day long. This will continue to fill in early this morning for that morning commute. Snow levels will be rising throughout the day today as well, so we will see improvements in some of those mountain passes. Temperatures, though, we're in the upper 30s through the majority of our area. The exception there along the foothills where we have some downsloping winds. Walla Walla and Pendleton, you're in the low 50s, and you can see those winds which have been picking up for you. Currently Walla Walla close to that 30-mile-per-hour wind. So expecting those rain showers to continue throughout your afternoon. Pretty mild day today with a high of 54 degrees. So look at how long the wet weather is going to be sticking around. Your full forecast, Monica, it's all coming up.
Thank you, Kristen. Washington state lawmakers gathered in Olympia yesterday to begin the 2021 legislative session. But because of unrest and people breaching the gates of Governor Inslee's mansion last week, both the National Guard and State Patrol were deployed at the Capitol out of precaution. However, other than one protester who threatened to charge the entrance and another man who was arrested for trespassing, State Patrol says both the House and Senate were able to begin their work without any issues. One woman told reporters she believes voters need to be able to observe the lawmaking process in person.
I want to look my legislators in the eye. I want them to see the people sitting there witnessing the session. I think that that is the only thing that is going to preserve our constitutional republic.
This year, you can watch all the sessions and even have your voice heard virtually. We have more information about how to do so on our website, yaktrinews.com. And we're getting a look at security video from the Oregon State Capitol. Take a look. It shows a state representative actually opening the door to let protesters inside. You'll see in just a moment here, once state officers realized what was going on, they did come to take the protesters out by force. This happened towards the end of last month as Oregon lawmakers held a special session to talk about coronavirus relief, among other topics. Protesters gathered outside, upset the COVID restrictions stopped them from observing the special session in person. Oregon's regular legislative session starts next week. Well, Washington State Representative Pramila Jayapal received a positive COVID-19 test result after being locked down in a room at the U.S. Capitol in the moments after the January 6th attack. Representatives and congressional staff were advised on Sunday that those in the room could have been exposed to another person who did turn out to be infected. They had to spend hours in the room, and several people reportedly refused to wear masks inside. Jayapal began quarantining right after the attack out of fear that she could have contracted the virus during the lockdown. And the fallout from the takeover of the Capitol in Washington, D.C. has now reached all the way to the Seattle Police Department. Jonathan Choi has some more.
Chaos at the Capitol and now a reckoning hitting the Seattle Police Department.
If any SPD employee participated directly in assaulting the U.S. Capitol, I will terminate them.
Investigators are trying to figure out if 2 Seattle police officers were involved in the riot. Interim Chief Adrian Diaz is not releasing their names at this time,
because we don't know if they've done anything wrong.
Diaz says this came to light last week after the 2 officers posted photos of themselves in Washington, D.C. on the same day of the mob takeover.
If they're at a peaceful public rally or political rally, that is not the issue that I have at hand.
The chief did not say exactly where the photos were taken and what it shows the officers doing, but Diaz says an SPD employee was the whistleblower who brought it to his attention.
Police Guild leaders like Officer Mike Solon, who over the past week has spread conspiracy theories.
And then there's the investigation into controversial tweets sent out by Police Union President Mike Solon addressing the insurrection, saying in part the far right and far left are responsible for that sad day.
Similar to Councilmember Herbold's comments, called on Officer Mike Solon to resign his position.
Some city council members are now joining the call for Solon to step down as head of the union.
Will you be able to work with Mike Solon moving forward?
I mean, he is the union president at this time, and I will be working with Mike Solon to address any other things that we need to do.
And a 51-year-old Seattle man is now facing charges accused of assaulting a federal police officer that day, violent entry of a restricted building, and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. Dozens of people have been arrested since in connection with what happened, and prosecutors say hundreds more could eventually face charges. At 6:05, check this out. If you like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, or ginger ale, you can thank a pharmacist. That's right, pharmacists actually invented them, and today just might be the perfect day to toast one of those bubbly beverages to your fave pharmacist for National Pharmacist Day. Clearly, there's much more they do these days when it comes to your health. They are vital. They give you your meds along with advice on what you're taking, and they immunize people as well. A lot of pharmacists also do research, discovering and testing new medications.
And we don't give them, the credit they deserve. We talk about nurses, we talk about doctors. And
exactly.
So,
a lot of us rely on our pharmacists, so thank you to them today.
Exactly.
All right, let's take a quick break here in Good Morning Northwest. But first, let's take a look outside.
And grab your umbrella. It's a soggy start to your day today. Look at just how long the rain's going to last, and some mild temperatures moving in as well. Your full forecast. It's all coming up.
Plus, we'll show you how the push to get as many people vaccinated as possible is taking over sports stadiums. Welcome back at 6:09. Dodger Stadium, State Farm Stadium, and the Alamo Dome. These are all big spaces being turned into mass vaccination sites. State Farm Stadium in Arizona is actually going to be giving out vaccines 24/7. Now, Arizona, California, and Texas have all been tremendous hotspots for the virus, and now they're racing to get as many people vaccinated as possible.
Up and down the state, this notion of an all-hands-on-deck approach to accelerate the equitable and safe distribution of vaccines.
That's California's governor speaking one day after his state passed 30,000 coronavirus-related deaths. One big concern for Los Angeles specifically is Dodger Stadium has been a testing center until now, and the city hasn't announced plans to replace it, which means once the stadium is converted, people may have to wait even longer to get a test. Some good news for small businesses. The Paycheck Protection Program is now taking applications once again. These are the loans for small businesses that can be forgiven if you use them on things like your business's rent and making sure you don't have to lay off employees. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, federal investigators are concerned about more violence in the days leading up to President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. Welcome back, everyone. State capitals across the country are under heightened security after the siege of the U.S. Capitol last week. Fencing had already gone up around some capitals during racial injustice protests over the summer. Now the FBI is warning of plans for armed protests at all 50 state capitals and Washington, D.C. ahead of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. While Biden says he's not afraid to be sworn in as president in the traditional location outside the U.S. Capitol, experts say extra precautions will be necessary.
You can see him through plexiglass, bulletproof plexiglass, but he has to be behind something that's protective.
The FBI said they're also investigating direct threats made against Biden, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, and the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Michigan's Capitol Commission banned the open carry of firearms inside the state's Capitol building as of yesterday. The commission failed to pass a similar measure back in April after armed protesters made their way into the Capitol's gallery and intimidated legislators with their guns. And in October, a group plotted to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And last week's insurrection at the U.S. Capitol convinced the commissioners to take action. They say they hope it makes their Capitol building more secure.
A significant step toward ensuring the safety of all who come to this Capitol building.
This is one thing we can do immediately to try and keep the people who visit here, who work here, who legislate here, safer.
The measure only bans open carry firearms, but concealed weapons are still permitted. Many state capitals ban the presence of any weapons on their grounds. Capitol Police are investigating several officers for not following protocol during Wednesday's riot. Acting Capitol Police Chief Yogananda Pittman says investigators are reviewing video to look for violations. Earlier Monday, Representative Tim Ryan said at least 2 officers had been suspended. He said one of them took a selfie with a member of the mob, and the other directed people around the building while wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Capitol Police have not said how many officers are under investigation, but a House aide said it could be as many as 17. Those officers are under suspension pending the outcome of the investigations. Vice President Mike Pence spoke face-to-face with President Trump for the first time since last week's riot. 2 administration officials report that the president and vice president met in the Oval Office yesterday, and one official described the meeting as a good conversation. Trump and Pence discussed the week ahead while, quote, reflecting on the last 4 years of the administration's work and accomplishments. Pence has been facing calls to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove the president from office. The vice president hasn't weighed in on the controversy publicly and doesn't appear likely to do so.
Now, Cap KVU First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Kristen Walls.
And good Tuesday morning, everybody. We are looking at some pretty active weather moving through the Pacific Northwest early this morning. Of course, our rain chances will be going up at the lower elevations today. Pretty high chances of that. Make sure to grab the umbrella. And then some winds will be picking up as well. We're already seeing that along the foothills of the Blues early this morning. And then the concern for some mountain flooding. We have a flood watch that's in place for the Cascades. That goes through Wednesday. So we're looking at the rain on top of the snowpack that we've already been seeing over the last couple of weeks. That will create the creeks and streams on the rise. We're also looking at an avalanche warning that's in place through the eastern slopes of the Cascades. So there is that concern with all this wet weather that is moving through. So there's Skywatch radar lighting up early this morning back through the Yakima Valley. Tri-Cities this morning, another batch of some rain showers moving in early this morning. So around Richland, Kennewick, a few light rain showers for you. And as we take you over into the Yakima Valley, Sela mainly dry right now, but then Yakima and Union Gap, you're looking at that steady light rainfall coming down for you. And then currently, we're dry along the foothills of the Blues, but more wet weather is going to be spilling back in. You can see all the active weather that we have through the Pacific Northwest. Snow levels are going to be rising, but we still have a little bit of rain-snow mix through the eastern slopes with that cold air that is currently trapped. And showing you some of those mountain pass conditions right now. Chains are required for Snoqualmie Pass, rain-snow mix for White Pass, and then they're doing some avalanche control work for Stevens Pass right now. So there's going to be some travel delays if your travels take you in that direction. So let's get you over to Futurecast locally and time things out. Rain showers this morning for your drive to work. That will continue through this afternoon. As you can see, some spotty rain showers even as you're heading home from work, as those winds will start to pick up. Pretty soggy out there for tonight, and then we'll see some improvements. We could have a lingering shower very early in the day Wednesday, but I think as most people hit the road for that morning commute, back to some drier conditions. We'll have a lot more sun, though, back in the forecast for your Wednesday afternoon. Rainfall totals with this system anywhere between 1/10 of an inch up to about 1/2 inch, especially here along the foothills of the Blues, and then back through the eastern slopes of the Cascades. As I mentioned, those winds have been picking up, especially here along the foothills of the Blues. Could see your sustained winds today up to about 30 miles per hour. We're starting off this morning, at least in Walla Walla, close to that 30-mile-per-hour wind. Pendleton up to about 15 miles per hour. And I think the majority of the area will see those winds picking up, especially by later on this evening as that front gets a little bit closer to the area. Going to be breezy overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. And then by Wednesday afternoon, those winds will start to lighten up as that sun is going to be back out across the area. Temperatures, though, because of those winds that have been picking up, downsloping winds, we're at 54 for Walla Walla, 38 Tri-Cities, so much cooler there in the Columbia Basin, 38 for Prosser, and then 37 for Yakima. So there, look at your numbers for this afternoon with 46 degrees for Yakima, jumping up to 54 Tri-Cities, 51 for Hanford into Prosser, and then 54 in Walla Walla. So overnight tonight, scattered rain showers, still going to be likely, and it's still going to be breezy as numbers fall through the 30s and 40s. So another breezy days in the forecast tomorrow as we start to dry things out. Back to some sun Thursday and Friday, and then 40s over the weekend. Should be pretty quiet as well Saturday and Sunday. And then that 7-day forecast for Yakima, also back to some sun by the end of the work week and starting to cool things off. Low 40s Thursday and Friday.
Welcome back. In entertainment, Ken Jennings began his run as interim host of Jeopardy last night. The Seattle native is the first of a series of guest hosts filling in the role left by the late Alex Trebek. Jennings is the GOAT of Jeopardy contestants with 74-time wins. In a promo video, he said sharing the stage with Trebek was one of the greatest honors of his life, and like all Jeopardy fans, he misses Alex very much. Trebek hosted more than 8,000 episodes in 36 years. The show plans to bring in more familiar faces as guest hosts, but no permanent host has been announced. Well, Ryan Reynolds is set to reprise his role as Deadpool. The third installment of the superhero franchise will be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel Studios president said this flick will be rated R, and they're currently working on the script. The original Deadpool made $363 million domestically when it came out in 2016, and the sequel, Deadpool 2, was released in 2018 and was also well received. 6:25, it is that time to check out our reason to smile today.
Now I know we're past Christmas, but we have been getting so many cute, adorable puppy photos of just treats or anything related to Christmas. I want to show you this. This is a treat that this pup got from Santa. Now that is, I had to look at this closely. That is a real bone made out of a candy cane.
He must have been, or she must have been, a good boy.
Here's
or
the
girl.
question. I wonder how long it will take he or she, I'm not sure the name, to chew through that bone.
I think it'll take him the rest of the year, maybe.
You would think. But yeah, so cute, so adorable. Thank you to Marta for submitting this one. If you have one that you would love to share, you can head over to yaktrynews.com, and we have our photos of the day section. You can submit your photos there.
That's right. Coming up next, how smartphones are being used in Washington to track down COVID-19.
And at 6:26, it is a soggy start to your morning. More on the rain. We have wind that's going to be picking up as well. More details in that Tuesday forecast. It's right after the break.
Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, a Kennewick burglar caught on camera. Now police are hoping you can help them figure out who this man is.
And the wet weather has returned this morning. A look at how long it's expected to stick around. Your Tuesday forecast, it's on the way.
From KapKView Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning, Northwest, and happy Tuesday, and thanks for kicking it off with us. I'm Monica Petrozelli. Let's get you straight to that forecast with Chief Meteorologist Kristen Walls. Kristen, it is a wet Tuesday, is that right?
It is, and so we'll have rain around this morning. The majority of the daytime hours today, we are looking at some rain chances, so keep the umbrella nearby. Let's get you started first with that live look. This is from Richland's Columbia Point. Another batch of some rain showers moving in from the west right now. So switching over, there's Sky Watch radar, a lot of green moving in. So we will have spotty rain showers on and off throughout the day today. So this will kind of be the case. Snow levels will be rising, and we have a little bit of some cold air that's still trapped there along the eastern slopes, which is why there's a little bit of a rain-snow mix in some locations, especially there around Cle Elum and as you get a little bit higher. Temperatures, though, we're in the upper 30s from Yakima, Prosser into the Tri-Cities. Much warmer, though, in Walla Walla at 54, 52 in Pendleton, and that's where we have those downsloping winds. It is a breezy start to your day, and it's going to be breezy as we take you throughout your Tuesday. Also looking at those rain showers on and off throughout the day today. A little bit warmer than yesterday with a high temperature of 54 degrees. So a look ahead to how long the rain is expected to stick around. Your full forecast, it's coming up.
Thank you, Kristen. A teenage boy from Yakima is missing after police say he ran away from home. This is who they're looking for, 16-year-old Humberto Flores. He's 5'8", weighs about 110 pounds, and was last seen wearing a black zip-up jacket, blue jeans, and light-colored shoes. Anyone with information on where he might be is asked to call 911. The Kennewick Police Department is looking for this man caught on camera breaking into a business. Police were sent out to the burglary in the 500 block of North Edison Street yesterday. The suspect, seen here, forced his way in by breaking glass and then stole merchandise. But he then returned minutes later wearing a different jacket and committed a second burglary at the location. If you know anything about this criminal, you should contact Kennewick Police. And an update on the double shooting in Walla Walla that left one man dead Friday. Police say a 47-year-old man shot his 43-year-old brother and 72-year-old father inside a home on Stadium Drive just after noon on Friday. Now, the brother survived, but the father didn't. Investigators still haven't revealed the possible motive, but police have arrested the suspected shooter, and he's in the county jail. Umatilla County first responders went on a treacherous mission to save a snowmobiler over the weekend. According to the Umatilla County Sheriff's Office, a 56-year-old lost control of his snowmobile about a mile off from Ruckle Junction. Deputies say the snowmobile landed on top of him, pinning him down. Life Flight was called to help, and the man was flown to a nearby hospital in Walla Walla. Well, a former Wapato police chief who was fired last year is expected to collect a $125,000 settlement. Michael Campos was fired in May as Wapato police chief after an internal investigation found evidence that he tried to intimidate witnesses into changing statements, lied under oath, and participated in an investigation in which he had a conflict of interest. The Herald reports that Campos referred his case to the Washington Division of Occupational Safety and Health and the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and Campos has since agreed to drop his claims when Wapato officials approved the settlement in December. Well, Kootenai County's new sheriff says he will not enforce the current mask mandate. The mandate, which applies to 5 northern Idaho counties, was put into place in November. At the time, all 5 counties were in the red risk category. Despite this, Sheriff Robert Norris said he doesn't believe it's law enforcement's job to, quote, get between you, your health, and your doctor, period, end quote. Instead, Norris suggested that those at high risk take extra precautions. Back here in the Tri-Cities, gyms are officially allowed to reopen under new strict safety regulations, but here are the rules. Just 1 person per 500 square feet, masks at all times, and you have to make a 45-minute appointment to work out. But people we spoke with say getting their workout in is well worth it.
The mask thing, it is a little bit annoying, but I mean, it's bearable. Like, I'd rather come to the gym and wear the mask than not come to the gym at all.
We're very confident that we can be open and be a safe place for people to work out, because people need fitness. They need it for their physical health, but also for their mental health.
Now, while gyms can reopen statewide, restaurants and bars won't be able to start allowing people inside until phase 2. The state is expected to give updates every Friday on which regions will be allowed to move forward. Washington's anonymous notification app that lets you know if you've been near somebody who tested positive for coronavirus just got a little bit easier to use. Now, if you test positive, you could get a text that looks like this, and then all you have to do is click the link and follow the steps to send out an alert to everyone you may have exposed, as long as they also have the WA Notify system on their phone. Now, they won't know who the alert came from, so there's no awkward conversations. The Department of Health says almost 1.7 million people have started using WA Notify since it came out at the end of November. And check this out as the clock turns to 6:36. Already a hit with humans, Ben & Jerry's is betting canines will also crave their fun flavors. Their doggy desserts are non-dairy frozen treats available in 2 flavors named after the dogs of employees. There's Punch's Mix, features peanut butter and swirls, and Rosie's Batch combines pumpkin and mini cookies. The ice cream-like canine concoctions have a sunflower butter base and other ingredients found in Ben & Jerry's traditional ice cream, including sugar, coconut oil, and wheat flour. They cost $2.99 for a 4-ounce cup or $4.99 for a pack of 4 and can be purchased in grocery and pet stores.
Looks good enough for me to eat.
I know, it doesn't look half bad.
Yeah, I probably would confuse this with the normal Ben & Jerry's ice cream, although, which goes in the freezer.
I mean, don't pick out this one. I think Ben & Jerry's trying to reach a lot more customers. They've got the canine flavors. They have also got the vegan flavors nowadays. Lots of options for everyone.
Yep.
All right, let's take a quick break here on Good Morning Northwest. But first, let's take that live look outside.
And the rain has returned to the area this morning. A look at how long you will need the umbrella, and those winds also picking up. Your full forecast is coming up.
Plus, we're talking about how and why a growing social media app practically disappeared from app stores overnight. Welcome back at 6:40. Amazon, Apple, and Google all took steps to shut down Parler, a new social media app, over the weekend. And now Parler is suing. Amazon Web Services basically took away Parler's internet access because it says it found dozens of posts encouraging or even threatening violence, which Amazon says violates its terms of service. Parler's CEO says he's working on rebuilding from scratch, and the company is suing Amazon for breach of contract, saying Amazon should have given them 30 days notice before taking them offline. Meanwhile, Twitter's stock price fell yesterday, the first full day of trading since the site permanently banned President Trump. Trump supporters organized a rally outside Twitter headquarters in San Francisco, and they were met with some counter-protesters, but it appears everything did stay peaceful. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, how airlines are responding to a new rule which could mean you'll be seeing fewer animals on your future flights.